Father, always in our thoughts. There are people in life who come and go, and there are those who stay in our hearts forever. Our Father is one of those people. Though he is no longer here in person, he remains with us in every moment, in every memory, and in every breath we take. He is always in our thoughts, as close as the beating of our hearts. It doesn't matter how many days or years go by, the thought of him still lingers in our minds as if he never left. Sometimes it's a quiet memory, his gentle smile, the sound of his footsteps coming home, the way he used to call our names. Other times, it's a vivid picture, his hands fixing something, his voice guiding us through tough times, or his arms around us when we needed comfort. Every detail of him lives inside us. We think about him when we're alone. We think about him when we're surrounded by people. We think about him in times of joy, and especially in times of pain. Whenever life feels too hard, the memory of his strength gives us courage. Whenever we feel like giving up, the way he kept going reminds us to be brave. His life was an example, and that example lives on in us. Our Father didn't just raise us, he shaped us. His values are a part of who we are. His voice is in the back of our minds, encouraging us to be kind, to be honest, to work hard, and to never stop believing in ourselves. We carry his lessons like treasures, passing them on to the next generation. His spirit is still alive in our choices, in our families, in our stories. We remember how he laughed, how he made silly jokes to cheer us up, how he'd get serious when teaching us life's harder lessons, how he worked late to give us what we needed. He may have gotten tired sometimes, but he never stopped showing us love. And we think about that love, always. At family dinners, we feel his absence. But in the laughter of loved ones, we feel him there. At special events, we miss his hugs and proud smile. But we imagine him clapping for us in spirit. When we succeed, we whisper, "I hope you see me, Dad." And when we fail, we cry, "I wish you were here." And somehow, we know he is. We keep photos of him in our homes, not just to remember what he looked like, but to remind us of the warmth he brought into our lives. Sometimes, we pause by those pictures, stare into his eyes, and speak softly. "You're still with me. I'll make you proud." And we do. Every day, we try to live in a way that would make our Father proud. That's how we honor him. That's how we keep him alive. Through kindness, through patience, through courage. Because that's what he gave us. And we want the world to know the kind of man he was. He wasn't perfect, but he was ours. And that means everything. He loved with all his heart. He forgave easily. He protected us like a shield and stood behind us like a wall. When we were younger, we thought he was invincible. And in some ways, he still is. Because nothing, not even death, has taken him from our thoughts. Some days, grief sneaks up quietly. It doesn't knock or ask permission. It just arrives. In a song, a smell, a place, or a word. Suddenly, we find ourselves missing him so much it hurts. But then we smile through the tears because even grief means we loved deeply. It's the price we pay for having such a good Father. There's a certain comfort in believing that he still watches over us, that when the wind touches our faces, it might be him saying hello, that when we feel a sudden warmth in our hearts, it's his love reaching across the distance. We don't need to see him to know he's there. We feel him in everything we do. Even as time moves on, the thought of him stays strong. He's in the stories we tell. He's in the habits we've picked up. He's in the advice we give, unknowingly repeating his words. He's in the lessons we teach our own children, passing on the love that once held us. And though we may cry, we are also grateful. Grateful that we had a Father worth missing so much. Grateful for the years we had. Grateful for every hug, every "I love you," and every quiet moment spent just being together. Not everyone is blessed with a father like ours. We were, and we always will be. So when we say he's always in our thoughts, we mean it with all our hearts. His memory is not a shadow. It's a light that continues to guide us. He is not gone. He is within us, every step of the way. To the world, he may have been just one person, but to us, he was the world. Father, you are missed. You are loved. You are remembered. Always. As the seasons change and the years move forward, our love for our Father remains steady, like the sun rising each morning. Life has taken us on new paths, introduced new people, and brought fresh challenges and joys. But through it all, the thought of our Father is a constant companion. He may not be here to walk beside us physically, but his presence is still deeply felt in our hearts. There are times when we pause in the middle of a busy day, maybe while looking out the window or sipping our morning coffee, and we remember him. Sometimes it's just a flash of memory, the way he used to sit in his favorite chair, the sound of his laugh, the way he called us by our childhood nicknames. Those little things become priceless treasures in our minds. They remind us that he lived, that he loved, and that he mattered so deeply to us. There is comfort in memory, even when it brings a tear. Our minds often return to moments we once took for granted, riding in the car together, watching a show on TV, or simply sharing a quiet meal. Now, those memories carry weight. They are part of what keeps him with us. And even when our memories fade around the edges, the emotion behind them stays strong. The love never weakens. Sometimes we wonder how he would react to the people we've become today. Would he smile with pride at our accomplishments? Would he still tell the same jokes to our children that he once told us? Would he walk beside us during life's big decisions, offering his calm and steady advice? We believe he would, and in many ways, he still does, not through words, but through the legacy he left behind. Our Father gave us more than just life. He gave us the strength to live it. When the world feels too heavy, we close our eyes and remember the way he handled hard times, with quiet courage and faith. He didn't always have all the answers, but he always gave us hope. That's something we carry with us today. In our family traditions, his spirit lives on. Whether it's a certain food he liked, a special holiday routine he started, or a story he used to tell, we keep his memory alive by honoring the things he loved. These small acts, lighting a candle, saying a prayer, listening to his favorite song, become sacred moments of connection. Through them, we keep the bond alive. Sometimes, grief feels like an open wound, but in time, it becomes part of who we are. Not something to run from, but something to carry with grace. And in that space of loss, love continues to grow. We learn to smile again, not because we forget him, but because we remember how much joy he brought into our lives. We laugh at his silly sayings, we share his stories, we look at his photos, and feel warmth instead of only sadness. The people around us sometimes ask why we talk about him so often. It's because he's never really gone. We keep him in our conversations, because he is part of everything we are. We mention his name with pride. We recall his teachings with gratitude. We cry. We smile. We carry him with us. Always. As our children grow, we tell them about their grandfather. We let them know how deeply he loved, how hard he worked, how gently he guided us. We tell them the stories of his childhood, his dreams, and how he always put his family first. In doing so, we make sure that even those who never met him get to know the great man that he was. We see pieces of him in ourselves, in our voices, in our mannerisms, in the way we react in certain situations. Sometimes we'll say something and stop mid-sentence, laughing to ourselves. That's exactly what Dad would have said. Those moments are little gifts, proof that he left his mark not only on our hearts, but also on who we are. On quiet nights, when the world is asleep and the house is still, we speak to him in whispers. "We miss you, Dad," we say. "We hope you're proud." And in those moments, a sense of peace fills the room, as if his spirit is there, listening, smiling, loving us just as much as he always did. No matter how old we get, there are times we still feel like children inside, wishing for one more hug, one more talk, one more day. The ache doesn't completely go away, but we find strength in the love he left behind, a love that doesn't fade, a love that teaches us to keep going. We remember the look in his eyes when he was proud, the firm grip of his hand, the softness of his voice when he said, "I love you." Those memories keep us anchored. They remind us that, although his body is gone, his spirit is still very much alive, in our thoughts, our hearts, and the very way we live our lives. And so we live in a way that honors him. We try to treat others with kindness. We stand strong in the face of difficulty. We protect the people we love. We show up when it matters, just like he did. In doing so, we carry forward the legacy of a man who gave his life to his family. As we look up at the stars or walk through the places he once loved, we find pieces of him everywhere. In nature, in music, in quiet moments. We believe that love never dies, and because of that, he is still with us. He walks beside us in spirit, unseen but always felt. And when we reach moments of joy, graduations, weddings, birthdays, we pause and think of him. We say his name. We picture his smile. We know he would be proud. And in those moments, the pain of missing him transforms into something beautiful. A reminder that we were lucky to have a father like him. So, yes, he is always in our thoughts, in our minds, in our memories, and in our everyday actions. And he always will be. Even as the days pass and new seasons arrive, there's a part of our hearts that remains unchanged. The part that holds on to our Father. Time might move forward, but the love we carry for him is timeless. It doesn't fade. It grows. It weaves itself into our daily lives in the smallest and biggest ways, and each memory of him brings both warmth and ache. We often find ourselves recalling the little lessons he taught us. He didn't always use big speeches or lectures. Sometimes he just led by example. He taught us how to be patient, by waiting quietly for things beyond our control. He taught us the value of effort, by waking up early every day and never complaining. He taught us kindness, not by telling us to be kind, but by showing it to everyone he met. And when we look back, we realize how much we learned just by watching him. The way he respected others, how he stood up for what was right, how he kept his promises. All of these moments became part of who we are. His life was a silent lesson, and every day we live, we continue to learn from him. Even today, when we are faced with hard decisions, we often ask ourselves, what would Dad do? That simple question gives us guidance. It helps us choose honesty over ease, love over anger, and courage over fear. His wisdom still lights the path before us, just like it did when we were young. There's a quiet power in remembering him. On cloudy days, when sadness feels heavier, we turn to his memory for strength. Sometimes it's through a letter he once wrote. Sometimes it's through an old jacket still hanging in the closet. Other times, it's just the whisper of his voice in our mind, encouraging us not to give up. We speak about him to each other, siblings, friends, and even strangers. We share his sayings, his favorite meals, and the way he always looked out for us. It brings him back into the room. It reminds us that, while death may have separated us physically, love has kept us close emotionally and spiritually. Grief, we've learned, is not something we get over. It's something we carry. Some days, it's lighter. Other days, it feels like a mountain. But carrying it also means carrying love. It means we were blessed enough to have someone so special that losing him still feels heavy. And even in that heaviness, we feel proud. There are moments when we're caught by surprise, a dream in which he appears, so real we wake up expecting to see him, a smell that reminds us of home, a story on the radio that echoes his voice. These moments aren't coincidences. They are love reaching out to remind us. He's still with us. We find traces of him in our daily lives, in the way we hold our coffee cup, in the way we react when someone is in need, in the quiet strength we show during difficult moments. And every time someone says, "You remind me of your father," our hearts swell with pride. He built a foundation, not of stone or concrete, but of trust, care, and belief. That foundation still supports us. When life shakes us, we find our footing in the values he passed on. His life may not have been filled with riches or awards, but to us, he was a hero. He was our home. There are days we wish we could call him just to hear his voice, days we want to tell him about our struggles or celebrate a small success. We imagine how he'd respond, what advice he'd give. And though we don't hear his actual voice, we hear the echo of what he might say. And it still helps. The pain of his absence is part of our love story. And in that story, every chapter reminds us of how lucky we were to have him. While the last chapter with him may have ended too soon, our love writes new chapters every day by remembering, honoring, and living with the values he gave us. Even in silence, he speaks to us. Even in stillness, he walks beside us. In the rush of life and in the calm of night, he remains part of us, guiding, watching, loving. When we look at old photographs, we don't just see a face. We see a protector, a dreamer, a teacher, and a provider. We see the man who gave his best years to make sure we had good ones. And even if the photo fades, his impact does not. We believe that one day we will meet him again. Until then, we live in a way that keeps him proud. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every time we choose love, it's a tribute to him. We promise to keep his memory alive, not just in words, but in the way we live. We will pass his love to our children, and they will pass it to theirs. Through us, he lives on. Dear Dad, if you're listening, know this. You are missed every single day. You are remembered in every quiet moment. You are loved beyond words, and you are always, always in our thoughts. To the world, he may have been just one person, but to us, he was the world. Father, you are missed. You are loved. You are remembered, always.